Chocolate City breathed through contradictions on the day before Thanksgiving. Columbia Heights storefront lights flickered like they were keeping secrets, and buses rumbled by as people walking had already decided to keep moving. From 16th Street NW, DC looked permanent. Vanessa knew better. She had watched blocks remake themselves while grief stayed in the same rooms. Vanessa worked as a peer specialist in NW, though she preferred the word advocate. She told people she was not there to fix them. She was there to comfort them, while they translated survival into something livable. She had grown up in D.C., where her mother taught her to read faces like street signs, and her grandparents from El Salvador taught her that crossing borders was more than just geography. Vanessa adjusted her worn canvas bag, her shoulder aching from the weight of resource packets, clean socks, and the turkey sub she'd bought at a corner bodega. Her phone buzzed, a text from her supervisor at the clinic. Holiday schedule reminder, all notes must be submitted by 5 p.m. No exceptions if you want your stipend processed by Friday. Vanessa swallowed the bitterness. Her rent in her Mount Pleasant studio apartment had jumped another $100 this month, a quiet eviction strategy by her slumlord who knew a developer was eyeing the block. If that stipend didn't hit her account, the holiday weekend would be spent staring at a final notice. She turned down an alley off 14th Street, where the scent of expensive artisanal coffee clashed with the stark tang of damp concrete and old freezing rain. This was her turf. This was where the contradictions lived. "Vanessa? That you, sis?" A face emerged from a fortress of heavy-duty trash bags and fleece blankets. It was Michael. He was 52, a Gulf War vet with a smile that could light up the National Mall, and a severe case of treatment-resistant schizophrenia. Vanessa had spent 6 months earning his trust, mostly by just sitting on the milk crates with him, sharing cigarettes and talking about the old DC go-go tapes, the kids who used to play in the spray of fire hydrants, the city before it got so quiet and expensive. "Hey, Michael," Vanessa said, softening her voice. She knelt, ignoring the dampness seeping through her jeans. "Brought you those wool socks I promised, and a sandwich. How are the voices today?" Michael took the socks, his hands trembling. "They're loud, real loud today. They're saying the feast tomorrow is a trap, saying if I eat, the government takes the rest of my mind." "I bought it myself, Michael. No government, just me." Vanessa lied gently, knowing the stipend that paid for it came from a federal grant that treated Michael like a data point. "You're safe with me." As Michael began to eat, a shadow fell over the alley entrance. It was Detective Vance, a neighborhood regular whose badge gave him the authority to treat the unhoused like urban blight. Behind him stood a younger man in a crisp suit, a representative from the Business Improvement District. "Moving day, Mike," Vance said, his voice flat, exhausted by his own cruelty. "The holiday market opens here tomorrow morning. Can't have this layout blocking the vendors." "He has a right to be here, Vance." Vanessa stood up, her posture rigid, her heart hammering against her ribs. She knew the law, and she knew how little it mattered. "He's in a mental health crisis. You can't just displace him into the cold." "Save the speech, Vanessa," Vance sighed, not looking her in the eye. "I know you're just doing your bullshit peer specialist gig, but I've got orders. If he isn't gone in 10 minutes, he goes to CPEP, and I know you know how that ends." Vanessa felt the familiar, suffocating trap close in. If Michael went to the psychiatric emergency room at United Medical Center, he'd be sedated, stripped of his few belongings, and released onto the streets 2 days later, entirely destabilized. She had been through that system herself 5 years ago, back when her own demons almost took her under. The memory made her skin crawl. "Mikey, look at me," Vanessa whispered, turning her back on the men. "We're going to take a walk. We'll go down to the shelter on Spring Road. I'll walk with you the whole way." Michael looked at her, his eyes wild with a terror that broke her heart. "You promise, Van, you won't let them take my socks?" "I promise." The trek across the city blocks was agonizingly slow. The wind picked up, cutting through Vanessa's cheap coat. By the time she got Michael settled into a crowded, chaotic intake line at the shelter, it was 4:50 p.m. Her phone screen lit up with another automated alert from the clinic. 4:50 p.m. Notes due in 10 minutes. Panicking, Vanessa sat on the curb outside the shelter, her fingers freezing as she opened the clinic's outdated tracking app on her phone. She typed furiously, translating Michael's profound human suffering into billing codes. Client exhibited symptoms of psychosis, provided de-escalation and navigational support, transformed environment. At 4:59 p.m., the app spun. Error, connection lost. No, 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 she whispered, tears pricking her eyes. She hit resubmit. Error. The clock struck 5 p.m., the portal locked, the stipend was gone. She wouldn't be able to pay her rent on Friday. Numb, exhausted, and feeling the dangerous, familiar pull of old dark coping mechanisms she had fought so hard to leave behind, Vanessa began the long walk back to the metro station. The city around her was glowing, families rushing into restaurants, Uber drivers honking, a wealthy, untouchable DC preparing for a day of gratitude. Her phone rang. It was an unknown number, but the area code was local. Thinking it might be another client in crisis, she answered. "Vanessa?" a frantic voice cried out. It was her younger brother, Antonio. He was unemployed and always asked Vanessa for $1 or 20. "Tony? What's wrong?" "Van, you gotta help me. I didn't know who else to call. I'm at the clinic. Your clinic. The one on 14th. Vanessa blinked, confused. "Tony, the clinic closed at 5. Why are you there?" I needed money, Van. The rent. I knew where they kept the pharmacy keys, the security codes. You left your backup ID badge at Mom's house last week." Antonio was sobbing now, his breathing ragged. "I just wanted to take some of the Suboxone and the liquid methadone to sell to a guy I know. Just enough to cover us." But the silent alarm went off. The cops are outside. They think it's a major heist. Vanessa's blood turned to ice. Her mind scrambled, trying to piece the fragments together. Her badge, her clinic. "Antonio, stay down, don't move. I'm coming." "No, Van, you don't understand," Antonio choked out, his voice dropping to a terrifying hollow whisper. "I didn't do it alone. I couldn't get past the inner safe. Someone inside gave me the master code weeks ago, someone who said they wanted to help me out because they knew how much you and I were struggling." Vanessa stopped dead in the middle of the sidewalk. "Who, damn it? Who gave you the code?" "The director, Van. Dr. Sterling. He told me it was a write-off. He said the clinic reports the losses to the state for Medicaid insurance payouts anyway. He said it was a victimless crime to help a good employee's family." Antonio let out a sharp, panicked gasp. "But Van, the cops aren't arresting him." "Doctor, Sterling is out front right now with detectives. I can hear them through the door. Sterling is telling them that you orchestrated the whole thing. He's showing them the system logs. He's telling them you used your brother to rob the place because your stipend got cut." Vanessa stared at her reflection in the glass of a darkened Columbia Heights wine bar. The permanent city she thought she knew dissolved into a matrix of exploitation. She was a peer specialist hired for her lived experience with addiction and poverty, celebrated as the heart of the clinic, only to be cast as the perfect, predictable scapegoat when the people at the top needed a payout. The sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder, echoing off the concrete, coming for her.